Awesome. Hey, Dental Nacho's crew. Welcome to Dr. Nacho Talks with dental students and baby age dentists in training, BADS, baby age dentists in training, about how the coronavirus is affecting them, what they're seeing in their space. We're all in this giant dentisting nacho plate together, so I think it's great to share the stories. So welcome. We're talking with two awesome. One is a BAD in training. We'll introduce him first. So Ahad, introduce yourself, share where you are here on Earth, where you are in the dentisting circle of life, and we'll go from there.
Hi guys, my name is Ahad. I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania, but I attend NYU College of Dentistry. I'm a D2 and a rising D3.
Awesome, Ahad. So you are getting ready to go to clinic, and then we'll talk with Elise. Share with us, Elise, where you are in the dentisting circle of life nacho plate.
Sure. So my name is Elise. I'm from California, but I currently live in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. I am a D4 at University of Pennsylvania. I will be a D4 for the next week. And yeah, I am transitioning into the workforce.
We just talked about you're going to have your virtual graduation,
right?
Your dentisting school closure. Which I feel for you guys. I mean, I'm always. There was actually a very, there's a lot of laughter even in the greatest of tragedies and annoyances. And one of the places in Philly, I don't know if you've been to Schlesinger's. It's right on 15th and Locust.
I haven't.
Great deli. And in the very beginning of this, they had a sign that made me laugh. It said, because we get it all the time for our team at Nachos. It's like, hey guys, looks like we're going to have to do takeout for the foreseeable future. A pandemic, who knew? And I just thought that was funny because it's like something happened that's never happened to us before, in 100 years, and we're dealing with it. So a lot of this, to me, my motto of Dental Nachos, a couple things I want to share with our awesome people watching in on Dental Nachos, Facebook Live and Zoom. I love giving out free stuff. So at the New Dentist Boost Camp, we had an amazing couple, the Corneliuses, come and share how they got out of debt, how they bought a practice, how they made it, and what they did, an inspiring, positive story. So if you text LIFE to 267-930-2288, just pick up one of your best friends in life, your cell phone. My cell phone is one of my best friends, always has something interesting to say, loves hanging out with me. You will get that. So Dental Nachos is a lot about JBN, just be nice, but also during this time, JBR, just be real, right? Embrace this reality. So I'll start with you, Ahad. We're taught to talk to patients in a very weird way. Walk in. What is your chief complaint? So negative. It's in the complaint, right?
Yeah.
How about instead, what are some concerns that you have about your mouth? Great question for you, Elise. You walk in to say something, hey, I'm Elise, I'm your dentist. What are some concerns you have about your mouth? Feels way different than what is your chief complaint? So what are some concerns the D2s have? And you can represent yourself, NYU, D2s far and wide. What are some concerns you guys have?
I think I really like that, Paul, you said that, because we're really taught to say chief complaint, and a lot of people realize that's a negative connotation. So I think moving away from that connotation and being very positive in the way that we approach patients is going to be, it's a good, impactful way to open up the conversation for the patient. But I think the biggest concerns, being a rising D3, current D2, is that how does dentistry change, with the coronavirus? Do we approach patients differently? Are we able to greet them the same way? How does PPE, play an effect on how we take care of our patients as a whole? I think it's just the whole patient care and communication aspect that's going to be affected. And it's just a very, it's an area that we just don't know. It's full of unknowns.
Really great question. I would like to share. So, if I could write a story about how dentists talk to patients, it would be called You Made It Weird. Patient normal, dentist weird. So what happens is, and I have a course, Tough Conversations, they can share that in the chat. So if we make it weird, the patient's going to think it's weird. But there's a lot of tough questions. And sometimes it's okay to say, I'm going to try to find out the best answer. I will find out the best answer. We're doing everything possible to keep things as safe as possible. We're doing everything possible to learn about the newest updates. And one of the things, dentistry has always been on this weird island or cave. It would be great if we brought it into the rest of Earth. So sometimes people feel insulted when I use this example, but I don't know why, because people love their hair, me included. Hair salons. Hair salons are going to have to figure out the same thing as dental offices. It's the same thing as dermatology offices. It has nothing to do if you're a dentist, a doctor, a stylist. it's going to be any PPP, which is a PPP loan, but I'm going to call it this, and Amanda and Ariel remember this. A PPP for us is now become people-packed places. People-packed places. Elvez, a dental office. So I think the best thing that we can do is dentistry is going to, and I, instead of say change, I say modify. In the short term, I see a modification of how we interact with patients. In the short term, I see a modification in how we interact with life. Because on Mother's Day yesterday, I went to the Boardwalk area in Philly. There's a million signs, social distance. I'm on Kelly Drive, a place I've been for half of my life, where people run up beside you, you know, when they're running. They bike next to you, and everyone's trying to stay apart. That's so weird. So we need to manage expectations and share things like that with our patients and especially our team. But dentists are not taught how to communicate. I wish we were, because it's right now we're in the highest level of communication we've ever needed. We're not explaining a root canal. We're not explaining wisdom tooth extraction. We're explaining how we're going to dentist after a pandemic. There's no studies. Dentists love a study. They love a study of the study. They love a bite wing of a bite wing. We're figuring this out together. So I think that's a really appropriate concern, and I'm glad you brought that up. And it's our job to manage expectations. And one of the things I'll share with you, Elise, you're going into the real world, I'm going to ask you in a second, is people are going to ask you questions that you don't know the answer to. And just say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find out the best answer. They're going to go to you, Elise, and say, does my insurance cover 80% or 50% of the root canal? You're literally going to have no idea. And you're just going to say, I'm going to find out the best answer for you, a confidence builder. So great one, Had. Elise, you are a D4. You're about to break into the real world of dentisting. What are some concerns you and your friends have as a D4 about to go into the real world or residency?
Sure. So the biggest concern for Penn specifically for our students is that we haven't taken our last licensing exam. And so I know the other two dental schools in Pennsylvania have. So for those of us who want to practice in Pennsylvania, what's that going to look like? If we do take the new mannequin exam, is that going to affect us if we want to work in other states? So really getting our licenses are, you know, that's like the biggest concern that a lot of us have right now. But also just working after this, and even if you are able to get into a site, be it private or in public health dentistry, you know, like I had mentioned, like what is that going to be like for patients, and how are we going to reassure patients that what is happening is safe and that they are really being taken care of and thought of first, as opposed to dentists just wanting to get back into the swing of things and kind of catch up for all of this lost
I've used
time.
a couple of really great questions unpacked. I want to go over the second part first, but then I want to talk about the license part. So first of all, I just was on a coaching call with a dentist who's been practiced for 26 years. A lot of people, I love doing this. I function like the limited oral exam PA for dentist decision making. They call me, they do a coaching call. Ariel and Brandon help me with it. They ask me any question they want. Associate, and this dentist says, how should I use the PPP loan? Now, I'm not an accountant. I'm very, very responsible. I'm like the dentist says, well, you need to go to an oral surgeon. But when you go to the oral surgeon, here's what they're going to say. And I use this example for this dentist. It really helped her because it's all storytelling. I played a lot of sports. If someone tears their ACL, they can't go right back into running. They can't go right back into playing. Through no fault of our own, we all got the same bad test that should bond us together. We all stunk. We got the coronavirus crisis, and we're going to have to rehabilitate. And I actually believe strongly there is, for me, a real merit to rehabilitating slowly. Because if we try to rush back into too much, we have a long career, a long time, and I get the stress. I get the financial stress. I'm under it. I mean, I had a practice going for 15 years. It's now grounded. Like me as a kid when I brought home a 30-pack of Natty Light, right? I'm grounded. So my practice is grounded, and that is a real key point. And you're a leader to say that. It's important that we think of our careers long-term, our businesses long-term, understand there's going to be a lot of commotion, and playing too many minutes in a basketball game, going and running 5 miles on your torn ACL can make it worse. But the part, at least I want to dig into, which is the most important, is there's going to come a time, and maybe this happened in dental school, it'll happen in the real world, super fun, it makes you feel like this guy here, you're ready to do a crown. Patient's there, you're there, assistant's there, financials are signed. Like, I'm ready to do a crown. Everything is set up perfectly. And you pick up your handpiece, you put your foot on the rheostat, and there's no response. The compressor has broken down. And you're just like, I'd like to live in the middle of the woods, by myself talking to the forest creatures. So then you have to fix it. So that compressor not working is like you guys not having your license, right? We could have all the great ideas, crown, financial plan, but you literally don't have the handpiece of dentisting light to do it. So share with me more, who's in charge of this? Like, who's someone that you guys can go to, or can I help in any way get this problem solved?
Yeah, so actually there have been some really helpful resources coming from the ADA and from our school in particular, where each state is providing updates on what they're changing, what they're allowing. There's actually a map, I believe it's either on ASDA's website or ADA. I know they're kind of interchangeable, but both of those resources have a lot of like great tools to figure out what your state's doing, what do you need to do to figure out how to move forward. So the information is there, but at this point it's kind of just like a standstill. Like there really isn't that much that people can do. I know, I believe ADEX has canceled their patient exam, their live patient exam, until August. And some schools have been already scheduled for their mannequin exam for ADEX. So the scheduling is there, but we're just kind of all waiting to see if these dates are going to be pushed out any further. So the information is available. It's just a waiting game.
To me, I've seen a lot of movies, big movie fan. The governors always seem to have a ton of power. And I feel like that happens in real life too. And I don't know if this gets in front of the governor, but I actually believe that you guys could, one of my things is to be kindly annoying. Sometimes my wife says regular annoying, but kindly annoying. And I feel like creative problem solving is that they should just give people licenses based on their dental school at this one time. Because you specifically have a pandemic, and you don't, Ahad, you're not a second year. So I hope they get rid of the live patient exam, pretty much the most unethical thing anyone can think of. Yeah. But you have to take the mannequin, Ahad, you're 2 years away. You, Elise, should just get to walk on in to the dental field, and maybe the governor or someone has to say, this is what we're doing, because not doing it. So I was talking with someone today about a dilemma, and they talked about this with the coronavirus crisis. A true dilemma is where there's no really good answer. People say hide in your basement forever. That's too aggressive. People say just open up Alves tomorrow. Probably a bad idea. There's a middle ground. So this dilemma with the licenses has got to be solved, because if it's not solved, it's going to create a backlog. It's going to create a problem. It's going to prevent you guys from earning money. So to me, I feel like they should just say, hey, this one time, this one class, will it happen to you, Ahad? We don't know. Probably not. You want another pandemic in 2 years? You don't want a pandemic. No. Go on the mannequin and do the dumb crown prep. I mean, I'm one who believes that dental schools should confer licenses just like medical schools, but I can't live in that great normal world. I'm happy if they just eliminate the live patient exam so that no one doesn't pass an exam because their patient overslept, or your patient's extorting you during the exam for more money, stuff that does happen. So that's what I believe, Elise, but the problem is, like, who's going to hear your story?
Yeah, so there have actually been, there's been a lot of great teamwork amongst all of the dental students, at least the D4s across the nation. There's been a really helpful Facebook page that started, and there are some great guys on there, well, ladies and gentlemen, on there really advocating for us as a student body, both nationally and locally. So there are states that are providing provisional licensure upon graduation. Pennsylvania is not one of them, unfortunately. So it is a case-by-case kind of thing, and it's a struggle, but I think at this point we're so close, we think, to the end that we don't really see, at least for Pennsylvania, we don't really see there being any other change besides them allowing the mannequin exam. I don't see provisional licensure happening for us in the
reason why this is so crazy, Elise, is,
it would be great.
Even if they, okay, fine, they allow the mannequin exam. When can you get together for the mannequin exam? No one knows this answer. I mean,
and we don't even know when we can practice. We don't have practice teeth, so
when can 100 people be together in a small space? I mean, I run live CE. I want this answer, but I don't want it at the expense of good sense.
Right.
I run live CE, 50, 100, 200 people. I want to get back to that in a way that makes sense. The mannequin is just like the worst. The mannequin test is a bunch of people shoulder to shoulder, close as could be. I'm just sharing from this is my experience as a human being on earth, not a dentist. Dentists are real people too, believe it or not. My sense is there's not going to be that allowed in the near future.
Yeah.
Unrelated to dentistry. I'm talking for anything, right? That's my sense. I don't know when they can open up a concert hall, when they can open up these things. So I feel for that. If we can help you in any way, let me know.
Okay, definitely.
Switching gears in our Zoom chat, people can ask some questions. If you guys have any questions on what are facing you, but one of the things I like to use is something that bonds us all together is we all have to get our first job, buy our first practice, hire our first associate, and sell our first practice. And a lot of this my first job stuff is it bonds us all together because we all had to do it. And right now, what's happened to the job market is things have changed. How many patients are going to come back? How fast are they going to come back? How can the offices be open? Maybe you, Elise, were replacing a full-time associate. We have our Dr. Nacho job finding dating webinar. Amanda will give you guys in the comments. These are all things I teach about to figure out if your job is a need or a want, a car or both. But Ariel, can you bring up the BTL video in a second?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
So I have a challenge for all of you. Even if you got a job, Elise, maybe you'll need another job. Maybe you need a part-time job. Ahad, you're 2 years away, but this is something everyone can do right now. And I want to ask Elise and Ahad, Ariel's going to show this video. So it's all about telling your story, bringing yourself to life, BTL yourself, okay? BTL yourself. I have it written on one of these things in the back. So to BTL yourself, I encourage you to make a video of yourself. So for those of you watching, I want you to watch this video that I encourage all of you to make and to have on a YouTube clip about yourself and drop in the chat, and you guys get to tell me face to face, what's one thing you notice that I say in this 29-second video that stands out to you? What's something memorable to you? So Ariel's going to show us that whenever she's ready.
Sorry, just need a minute.
Sure, no problem. While you guys are waiting for that, freenachos@dentalnachos.com is our free nacho email bucket. Elise, I encourage you to do this. You too, Ahad. Make a dental-specific email. I send out emails daily. Some people unsubscribe and they say, your emails are annoying me, Paul. I totally get it because you're using your Hotmail account from high school. But when it comes to professional emails, you should have a bucket where you save professional emails because there's valuable stuff. So if you email freenachos@dentalnachos.com, Ariel and Amanda will send you this link and a 2-hour link about your job interview, which we'll show here in a second. But Elise and Ahad, you guys are on the hot seats. The rest of the people in the chat, you guys just put in the chat. Ariel, you show the video.
Went to Penn Dental School and graduated. Tell me when I can go. Hi, my name is Paul Dr. Nacho Goodman. I went to Penn Dental School and graduated in 2002. After dental school, I did a GPR residency at Albert Einstein where I learned how to place implants, do endo, get faster with restorative procedures. I would love to find a job in the Philadelphia area, and I would love to meet you. My cell phone is 267-896-1942. My email is paul@dentalnachos.com. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time.
So Elise, what stood out to you from that video? What would you remember?
Definitely just like the confidence and your personality, I think really stands out in that video. And it's really nice to bring your resume to life. And so that's really a cool tool to have.
And prior to you guys are too young, but back in the olden days of friendship and dating, if you didn't jot down someone's phone number, they were gone for life from your life. That was it. You turn a 7 into a 9, it's the end of your friend. You're never getting in touch with them again. But it's the same thing now. The contact information at the end is key. Now, use whatever you guys want. Don't give out your personal cell phone. Create a Google Voice. Don't give out your own email. But that's at the end for you to say. So someone's watching that says, I'd like to hire that person. I'd like to talk to that person. How do I get in contact with them? Ahad, what stood out to you?
I think, like, as Elise mentioned, is your confidence, your charisma that really stood out. And on top of that, like how you ended it with your contact information, I think, you know, even if someone didn't pay attention in the first 10 seconds, they know how to get to you. And then they're like, okay, I like this guy. Let's get him on board.
So my chat, great one, Ahad. And what else did you guys succinct we have here? So it's all free. You can make it for free. Just take your phone. You can hold it like this. It's supposed to be Gary Vee's one of my idols or mentors. Or I don't know him, actually. I can't call him a mentor. I'd like to meet him. Document, not produce. It doesn't have to be. Now, you like Sebastian Maniscalco. I don't know if you guys know him as a comedian. He's hysterical. He's like, why are people taking selfies with like plates of chicken wings in the background? Old chicken wings. So like your background there, Ahad, awesome. Yours, awesome. You don't need any more. Just take your phone, put your AirPod in, get a lavalier mic, make it your BTL video. You'll use it so many times. Elise, I'm going to make these for everything, but you were kind enough to ask me to come speak at your event, right? Or you did. I get asked things like that hundreds of times a year. So I need to make a BTL speaking Paul video. Hey, my name is Dr. Paul Nacho Goodman, dentalnachos.com. A lot of people ask me to speak about practice sales, finding a job, patient communication, what to do after dental school. If you would like me to speak to your group, just reach out to me at, watch this one, salsa@dentalnachos.com, because that's my speaking bucket. So there's so many great ways that all of you watching this can utilize this technology to BTL yourself. So thanks for that. Ariel, show them the crunching your job interview 1 sec. So I have a really good thing for you guys. Anyone out there currently looking for a job, or at least I have imagined you have friends who are in their job finding process.
Definitely. I am in the job finding process. So these are all very helpful skills.
So I'm glad. So sometimes you can get a little bit of information to pique your interest on something: exercise, financial planning, eating out, salsa dancing, all that stuff. And then you need to learn more and break it down if you're really going to be doing it. So Ahad, I just want to let you know, you don't have to take a 2-hour course on how to manage a 5-year-old when they refuse to go to bed. I do. It's called my life. So if someone had a course, I would sit and watch it because I have a 5-year-old. But you guys don't have 5-year-olds. But what you guys do have is the need to get a job. So we're not going to show all of this, but I put together a 2-hour video with Mark Dorio, who's a job finding expert, with the Einstein residents about crunching your dentistry job interview. So if you're watching, you want to email freenachos@dentalnachos.com, crunching your dentistry job interview, you'll get this entire thing, which you should watch instead of Netflix one night, because you'll break down what we do. Ariel, just go to like the middle of it and play a couple minutes.
Are they jobs that are advertised? They're out there. So I've done some research. Craigslist, don't laugh. Craigslist actually had some jobs available. Have you looked at, okay. Here, let me mention these, then see which ones you've used and how, if you even start looking. Hunter and Spence, a great site. Hunter and Spence has a lot of information. Even I looked up all the interview questions they asked. And I even have questions for owners, what questions they ask, and jobs. Monster.com, Glassdoor. I looked up this past week, and Glassdoor had a lot of.
So just in this like 1 minute, Mark's going over places to find a job, because you have to be really creative, and there's jobs listed here. So one of my most common questions, if you are medium-aged dentist watching or you want to promote a job, Ahad, actually, you're our youngest, coolest person. Hey, Elise, you're 4th year. Look at Ahad, he's 2nd year, right? You're getting closer to my age than him. I'm just joking. If you had, Ahad, I'm going to say, I'll give you $1,000, right?
Okay.
That's all you have to do. Please post a job 4 days a week, full time, in Pennington, New Jersey, which is where I work. And I want as many applications as possible. I want 100 people to apply for this job. You cannot use any of your dental school contacts. You cannot use your personal Facebook page. I'm going to ask you this next, Elise. Where would you advertise this job? I'll give you $1,000 for 100 emails just interested. Then I'll take it. Tell me how you're going to find those people.
I would probably, is LinkedIn a possibility or no?
Yeah, you could. Oh, you got
Okay.
10 things. Use as many, reel off as many as you would use. Ariel, you could stop sharing that. We won't show it anymore.
Okay,
Reel
so
off as many as you would use.
I would probably use LinkedIn, Glassdoor, like the guy mentioned in the video. I guess Craigslist. I didn't know that was a legitimate resource. And wow, that's really it. Like those are the first 3 that come
And
to
look,
mind.
you're our youngest, hippest person. Not that easy, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a Match.com of this. It's a lot of work. And right now there's not a lot of money in it because people love to date. How many people want to connect to young dentists for jobs? It's not as easy, but good. You gave us a few, but you have no confidence you're going to get that $1,000, right?
No.
Because attention, like Gary Vee says, it's getting the right attention. But at least you're a 4th year. Would one of your friends like a 4-day-a-week job with $100,000 guaranteed in Central New Jersey?
For sure.
Yeah. So
Sure.
you know there's a lot of single people who want to meet a job like that. But tell me, what would you do?
I think if you already using what Ahad mentioned, I think word of mouth is really key. I think that's how you're going to be able to expand your network. And so that's really the only additional one that I have to
So
offer.
the answer is we stink. Our industry stinks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a horrible industry. It's from the 1800s. It's a pandemic. You're going to shout out your window. Job available. So what I'm saying is, and I'm making a joke, and word of mouth is great. We have such bad connectivity. I'll give you some of mine because I used to do this for the Einstein residents back in the day before Facebook. One, Dentaltown. I would go on Dentaltown in 2008 and say, I'm a GPR attending. Does anyone want to meet some great young dentists? And I would get emails from around the country, Kentucky, Louisville. So Dentaltown. Dental Nachos, we have a program. So if you're on Facebook, Dental Nachos has a program. Craigslist, temporary dental job placement sites. Dental Force. What's the one, Ariel, with Tanya? Dentalpost.net. Instagram, I would put it on stories. I would create a professional thing, and I have a story going by every other day. Job available here. Now, I told you couldn't use your personal Facebook account, but you could use Facebook. At Dental Nachos, there's a small fee to advertise it. Great fee to pay because you might get the person to solve your problem. We also do high-level matchmaking, not just me, other people in this space. So there's 9, 10, 11 places to promote these jobs. But if you don't know where to promote them, that's where the people stay single forever. And that's why there's a problem. Now, on the other side, if you're a dental school, if you're a young dentist, you want to get your virtual face out there as much as possible. Let everybody you know you're looking for a job. But who would you guys talk to? And you talked about the word of mouth. Equipment reps, Shine type reps, Darby type reps, your dental lab. Does anyone think of that? Call the dental labs. It's very creative. Call the dental labs in the area where you want to work. Just say, hey, you should do this after this video. You say, hey, I'm Elise. I'm in the mainline area. I just graduated from dental school. Do you guys know them? Because people tell their lab everything. I'm sick. I'm injured. I'm not going back. I mean, here's what I do in this world. I just had a call this morning. There's a dentist who's going to be out for a medical reason for 4 months. He wants me to headhunt and find him someone to babysit his practice for 4 months, going 3 days a week. That may be an awesome opportunity for a new dentist who says, you know what, I want to get a field private practice. I'll check hygiene. I'll do emergencies. Those are all things, but we got to stop acting like we're in the 1800s and it's the Pony Express. So would you watch Crunching Your Job interview now, Elise, that video?
Definitely. I'm definitely interested in it. So I'm going to, I wrote down the email, so I'll send a message over to Ariel after this to get it.
And the reason why you're interested is you're in that world, and Ahad, you're moderately interested. You know, if there's a good show on Netflix, you're probably not watching it tonight, but Elise might, or I bet you, you know, if we did a test, a really good book you guys should all buy is The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Amazing book, okay? I'm a classic connector. It's timeless. If I gave that YouTube link and you gave it out to 10 of your friends and we could track it, Elise, there'll be somebody who watches that whole video tonight because they feel desperate to find a job and they want that information. So key to break this down. But you know, Brandon, Ariel, and Amanda, they're not. Ariel's a hygienist, Elise and Ahad, but she didn't go to dental school. Tell them they go over this a lot in dental school, right? This is a big part of dental school, finding a job.
I think, you know, we have a practice management course where they really do a great job. They do a great job of like teaching us about contracts and things to look for in a job and, you know, what's really important when you're interviewing. And Dr. Eisler and Dr. Hexum do a great job with this course. I think, you know, there are certainly opportunities to become more exposed to just entrepreneurship and just how to be a business person. I think there's so much focus on learning the clinical skills and the sciences, which is important, but, you know, in dentistry is a business. And, you know, with my organization, with DICE, that's what we're really looking to do, which is to develop dental entrepreneurs and innovators and really give dental students the opportunity to learn these things that we don't really even have time to learn in school. It's not even, I mean, I get that it's not a priority, but we barely have time to do what we do. So, you know, I can't really imagine how they would work that in the curriculum. So
the way they work it in is really good. And Ariel said they probably actually do a better job in hygiene school. The way they work it in is the way that I work in using these weights behind the Dental Nachos thing. Like 100 bicep curls or things like this a day by putting a few in between. Yeah. And that's what they should do. Infuse it as part of what they do, not a standalone course. I want to ask Ahad in a minute, but you mentioned someone. So you said that someone, Dr. Eisler, does a really good job of helping you, right?
I think so Dr. Eisler and Dr. Hexum are in charge of the practice management course where we cover different topics. And so it is like a supplemental course. It's not like where I think students will get the majority of their information, but I think it remind students like, look, there's this whole other side to dentistry that we know we don't teach you guys enough about in dental school, but here are a little few pearls of wisdom, and here are some resources for you to go out and learn more.
So I'm glad to hear that. So Evan Eisler, interesting story. The person who helped me film Dating Your Job, Finding Your Job, the Dr. Nacho Dating Where Finding Your Job was Evan Eisler. So
Nice.
he's my associate, and he's someone who's working here. So he does an awesome job with that. I'm glad to hear that.
For sure.
Ahad, what do they do at your school? Is there a lot in first and second year about finding a job and talking to people on a business level after school?
The only thing so far as a D2 we've been exposed to is a practice management course. And that's more like to do with insurance and like how to deal with your practice. I know at NYU later on, like in years 3 and 4, that they do an addition to dental management and practice management. So I assume that there will be more like job opportunities and an understanding of how to get a job. But I'm also alumni affairs rep. And so I work pretty closely with the alumni affairs office. And in that, they created a job search, like a database essentially for NYU alumnus, and we can actually branch out and like look for jobs from graduating dentists from NYU.
That's
I think the biggest issue with it though is that it's still relatively new, and we haven't had the opportunity to expand it. And so my goal as a rising D3 is to like work with the alumni affairs office and like try and get that out to like the rising D4s and like to classes below.
Yeah,
So
you gotta create your own network, and it's really just we need to keep talking this back and saying the first, second, third years networking so important, meeting people. Because Elise, you are the most perfect example. You're a brand new dentist. Your career is like a baby. Like when I took the baby home from the hospital, it's great they tell you what happens on their first day of school. It's great they tell you what happens when they go to junior high. But what you have is a screaming child that you have to take care of now. And that's your career, and that's a job now. So we need to have less broad picture, buy a practice, and
Right.
more like, what do I do the day I leave here? What do I prepare? How do I meet people? When I see CE in the area, why should I go? So I can meet people who can solve my problem. So awesome, guys. Great comments here. I'm going to end with this. I'm going to give you one last great talking tip, Elise and Ahad. So at the end of every hygiene exam, it's hard to get out of the room. So Ariel's seen the pain look on a dentist's face as a patient has been telling the dentist about her cat. She got a new cat. Her cat has died. Her cat might die. And you're just like, how do I get out of this room? It's very hard. So this is the question. You say, oh, hey, Elise. Hey, this is it. Go. What other questions can I answer for you about the real world of dentistry? So for you, Elise, you say, what other questions can I answer for you about your gum tissue? What other questions can I answer for you about your night guard? You make it a question, something they can't say yes or no to, and it's your final thing. And maybe the patient says, I don't have any questions, or they say, what's it cover? So I'll start with Elise. What other questions could I answer for you before we jump off, or on the Zoom chat here, about moving into the real world of dentistry?
Sure. So I think I would really love to know what your best advice is for, new grads that are in this predicament. Like, I know that all of this free time has been really great. It's allowed me to spend more time with my family and work on passion projects and things that I like to do, but really, getting gear, I need to get geared up to going back out into the workforce. So, if you were in my shoes, like, what would you do? What would be some things that you do daily or, weekly?
Awesome question. I would break it down to your dentist in core. Your mind, how you make decisions, your words that you use, and your clinical skills. So what type of enhancement, and maybe that's traditional CE, maybe that's Toastmasters, maybe that's a business course. What can you do to learn more about these things you're going to need to use in the real world, especially communication? And then couple that with communicating with office in the area as much as possible. And here's the golden nacho tip. You happen to be in Kennett Square, so I know this area, right? So like I went to Villanova. So let's just say you would work in Villanova. Google every office in Villanova, call them up, and don't be like, I'd like to work here, too aggressive. Say, hey, my name is Elise. I just graduated from University of Pennsylvania. I would love to talk to your dentist, Dr. Smith, and learn more about dentistry in this area. Would that be possible? People love helping baby age dentists. And then say, what's the best email to follow up? And in that email, include your BTL video. Say you would offer to take him to lunch or her to lunch. If you call around, and I use the word call as an MOC. MOC is mechanism of connection. It could be a text, it could be an email, it could be all of it. It could be a paper letter. Call around and try to meet as many dentists as possible and share with them that you'd love to learn about dentistry in the area. That gold will come from that. A special problem solving will come from that. Somebody who's married, right? Example, people at parties, you go up to them, you want to date me? I'm married. But I have a friend who's single, lonely, sitting at home watching Netflix. Meet them. That's the dentist version of that. The dentist version is, oh man, my roommate from dental school in Conshohocken, his associate just is going to perio. That's my best advice for you.
Gotcha.
Oh, sure. Ahad, what can I help you with? What other questions can I answer about the real world dentistry or anything else in the last 2 years of dental school?
So I guess my biggest question is, how can we learn from clinic the most and apply it to the real world? Because I think the biggest thing is we get thrown into clinic, we're really unsure of what we're doing, and it takes like 6 months to adjust. That's what I've heard. But like, how can we learn the most? Because we're paying like $90,000 a year, but how do we take the most out of our investment and then use that to apply that in the real world?
Another really good question. I'll start with getting the checklist manifesto, reading the entire book, and Elise probably can echo some of this. Getting out of dental school is its own special thing, right? So let's just say you have to do a crown, a class 2 filling, and a denture insert. Just those 3 procedures. You got to do those in the real world. Break down each of those procedures, make checklists for them, get as efficient as possible, write down everything you would tell an assistant to set up for, and then be like, I got to set up since I'm my own assistant. Write down everything that you would tell a financial coordinator to say in terms of money, and then you have to do it yourself because it's dental school. Why we make the worst people do all the jobs is beyond me. Oh, you don't know anything, Ahad? How about you assist yourself, set up for yourself, and at the end, take the patient to pay. That'll work out great, right? You jump to my daughter's like, put shoes on. That's it. Just the shoe part, right? There's one on, we're halfway there. So that would be my best advice, is to everything that matters needs a system, and everything matters. Someone asked about the book. So it's the checklist. The checklist manifesto is how to make checklists for success in anything from landing a plane to doing a dental procedure. Really amazing book. That is how I would practice like you want to be the most efficient dental student possible. If it takes you 3 hours to do a crown prep and impression the first time, you want it to take 2 hours and 40 minutes the next time without compromising the quality. So that's the best advice I give you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Great comment from our awesome Nacho. Stay immersed in dentistry somehow. I emailed my old professors to check in, and we're looking forward to catching up when we're done being grounded. All right, well, I want to thank you guys for sharing with the Dental Nachos community. It's great what you're doing to come on here and share for 4th years, 2nd years. You made somebody feel better today to say, hey, I feel like that too. It's normal to feel worried. It's normal to feel concerned. But just my message is, and I do it whether it's the Dental Nachos team, whether it's my dental office, whether it's my daughter who just learned to ride a bike, who didn't learn to ride a bike before, it's just a little bit better, makes a lot better dentisting life. Just do a little bit better more. Don't be a typical dentist, Elise. Don't try to do all of these things today because you're an overachiever. Just do one thing. Watch the job interview. Buy the checklist manifesto. Then the next day, do one more thing. So awesome, guys. Thanks so much. How can people reach out to you guys or follow you guys on Instagram, or if they want to learn more about what you guys do, your business club, Elise? I'll let Elise share with us that.
Sure, yeah. So I'm one of the founders of DICE, Dental Innovators, Creators, and Entrepreneurs. It's basically an educational platform for dental students who are interested in learning more about entrepreneurship. And if you have like a low-level startup, if you're really just in your inception stages, we're really here to help you get some free legal advice, learn from current dental entrepreneurs, and really just provide a space for dental students to get together from different institutions and hopefully be at the forefront of the next generation of dental development, whether it be in practice style or in a new innovation that will help us provide better care. But yeah, so my email address is info@dentalinnovators.com. You can learn a little bit more about our very minimal about our organization on our very minimal website at dentalinnovators.com. And that is the best way to get a hold of me. I have an Instagram, but I'm not like public and I don't post a bunch of stuff. So that's not really the best way for me.
I would share with you, because Desiree Yazdin has been an awesome resource here. She has 140,000 Instagram followers. And I know everybody has their own personal attitudes towards social media, but just think of it from a resume building thing. It's very valuable to create some dental focused Instagram profile where you share just good stuff, happy stuff, stuff about you. It's going to be you know how people say, oh, I check people out on Facebook for job interviews. Instagram is still happening now. And I think it's a very valuable tool that you can use to showcase your story, and you can control what you put on it, right? People are like, I don't want people to see me doing shots at a bar. I'm like, well, don't put the pictures of you shots at the bar.
Right.
Your phone. Who's coming in and doing this, right? So, I mean, that's what I would say. So awesome, Elise. How do people reach out to you?
I'm really easy. You can either email me, azs259@nyu.edu. I check that frequently. I get like direct emails straight to my phone. You can follow me on Instagram, ahahah81. Yeah, that's really it. You can ask me any questions. I'm free to open anything, any topics. I'm really open about anything. So just, shoot me a question or email if you have any questions.
Awesome, Ahad. And free nachos at dentalnachos.com. If you would like to get crunching your job interview, other stuff. Someone said, Elise, I'm a D4 listening in. We know how you feel. Congrats on graduating. And Ahad, you're a rising D3 star. See how nice. That's so nice. So, all right, I'm going to jump off the chat. Thanks, guys. Have a great time. We're going to leave it up for a few minutes if you want to ask questions. Zoom people, Dental Nachos people, we're all in this wacky dentisting world together with our own unique story. So let's stick together, bond together. Just remember my message. No one likes the dentist, so we might as well like each other. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.